join us for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business are minutes from last Monday.
Also moved.
Dawn has moved. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
Since I wasn't here, I'll just remain.
Okay. Motion carries 4-0-1. Our consent agenda. We have a request of the Coffee County Housing Authority Board to move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Billy G. Coulter, lots 1, 2, and 3 in block 171 of the city of Burlington in Coffee County, Kansas, also known as 1103 Allegheny, Coffee County, Kansas. Book volume M259, page 701 of the records of the registered deeds for Coffee County, Kansas.
Also moved.
Dawn has moved.
One second.
Brad is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Miscellaneous motions. Motion from IT department. Move upon the recommendation of the IT director to waive the purchasing policy as the competitive bidding for good cause. Said cause being the state of Kansas contract number 10932, and to approve the purchase of 1 year of 24/7, 365 support and monitoring from VMware product support subscription from Eagle Software Inc. in the amount of $13,021.56. Funding for the purchase will come from the technology, training, and equipment line item. And is that general fund?
General fund, yes.
General fund, technology, training, and equipment line.
Shouldn't just say, approval of county attorney since we're waiving a policy? Shouldn't you have with approval of county attorney?
Yeah.
I'll move with that addition.
Bob moves as amended.
One second.
Fred second.
Mr. Chairman, Brad, there's a fair amount of this cost is tied to support.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's probably all you'll need with what you can bring to the table for the county. What's it take to get into excessive support? If some of these is 1 time, 2 times, 8 times? You ever had an issue of?
I've never, over the years, I've never gotten into, what I'd say. Let me ask, what do you mean by excessive support? These people have helped me several times over the years.
What's it take to get into where this cost will expand? Or you feel very comfortable with it?
I feel very comfortable with it. Already this year, they've helped me a couple times, when we upgraded our servers and things. This was the company I used to assist me with that. And
So there's a good line of communication where
Yes.
if you need additional help, they'll do it
yes,
without extra cost.
without extra cost, yes.
Okay.
That's what okay. Thanks.
I see a lot of it's tied to support, so.
Bob has moved and Brett has seconded. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. If you're ready.
You didn't have to calm me down, and I actually have paper, so.
Everyone has it.
So I want to jump down to the second from the bottom and start with something positive. So, right now, the health department is hosting the wellness bottle, and we're doing that virtually. And we're doing that from the May 10th on through the 24th. It's a free run, there's no t-shirt, but it does count as part of the wellness circuit. So today at 10 o'clock, the staff and I are going to go out and actually do the bottle together to get it to count. So I wanted to start out with something positive. And then also lead into something even more positive. And to date, our COVID situation, we are still at 50. We have no new positives. We have no active cases. We have 2 in quarantine right now. So I did kind of want to give you a little bit of an overview of what this was that we've experienced since March. We've had 49 cases of that and of COVID that were linked to 2 different outbreaks. 47 of those were linked to Life Care Center, and another 2 were associated with another county's outbreak, like we've discussed. We did have the 1 travel-related case. But to tell you what Life Care Center was like outside of our county, there were a total of 61 cases of either staff or residents that were positive. And that included 15 hospitalizations and 8 deaths. We will, though, likely change that number down to 7. And when the hospital was reviewing their death numbers and ours, they called us and said that one of the deaths that had been reported, the physician did not include COVID on the death certificate because that person had recovered about a week prior. And so we weren't given that information at the time when we were told the patient had passed. And so technically we would have 7 deaths. I did want to note that all of the deaths occurred in residents that had underlying health conditions, and all of them were of advanced age. So just to give you a little picture of what we dealt with for that time. We were fortunate enough, we had applied for some very small mini grants, or even money appeared that we didn't even apply for, but we did get over $6,000 there. Part of that was administered through CALD, and I believe that came from the Legislative Coordinating Council. KDHE gave us an advance payment of, and it was only a 25% payment of over $3,000. And then U.S. Health and Human Services just automatically gave all local health departments and EMS a stipend as well. We also applied for a Blue Cross and Blue Shield grant of $5,000 last Friday. That's for counties who have had at least 5 cases. So we felt we qualified for that. And then on the Resource Council side, I applied for a $4,000 grant from the United Way that, even though right now our requests for assistance have been way down, and we assume it's because schools are providing meals and the government has provided stimulus money, and tax time has rolled around and people have probably got their refunds, but we feel that within a couple of months we could see some people financially hurting. So we did go ahead and apply for that, and we should know tomorrow if we receive that or not. I did want you to know that collectively all of my staff have spent over 300 hours outside of our normal working hours working on COVID. And that was evenings and weekends. We still have call. Right now, we still have nurses taking call on the weekends because we do have people that still need checked on, and cases that need to be reviewed as results come in. So I don't see that letting up completely anytime soon. But the 300 collective hours, that to me was a little shocking. But we have been spending a lot of time on that. And so starting May 1st, when we started to see clients again, we were able to shift our focus away from being 100% COVID response and kind of transitioning into our normal work schedule. So we are working on that. And one thing that we've noticed, we do screen all moms who come in, bring their kids in for shots. We have screened them all for postpartum depression, and we have seen those numbers increase. Not only the number of moms who are reporting depression now, but the scores are going up from ones we've seen before. So I did give Dr. Shell a call and emailed the clinic and had a conversation with them about that. And it's awesome now. They are now doing a depression screening on every client, not just pregnant moms. And so they don't have any previous data to go off of, but they are going to look to see what the numbers look like now. So I do fear that the social distancing, while necessary at times, might be affecting our communities a little more largely than we're realizing right now. I know just to be honest with you all, our office was very surprised that the governor didn't go forward with a complete step to phase 2 of the reopening plan. And I have to say that locally, we were even surprised, Dr. Shell and I both, at how strict she was with phase 1. We were anticipating opening if we were given the choice. We had a plan to open at around 50 people as the gathering number. So to continue at 10 through this point, where it's not in line with the ideals that we had. And we are truly seeing, while some people have contracted this at work, it's when they're working side by side with somebody else, very close, or providing intimate cares like a CNA or a nurse would. Those are the folks getting it. And while we've quarantined a lot of people who have been exposed, it's really passing just to those spouses, people who are in that intimate space for a length of time. It's really, we're not seeing it spread very quickly through our other quarantine folks. Like if it's just a normal work environment like we have here, we're not seeing those types of folks come down with this. So we are ready for the world to be opened back up as far as Coffee County is concerned. And we really want people to know that the health department is just delivering the governor's message. We aren't the ones creating that message, but we are having to be that go-between when they have questions. And so I think our public has the perception that the health department is the one with all of these tight restrictions, and that's just not the case. We're just abiding by what she has said. And we've started to push back a little and kind of ask our leaders why we aren't basing our decisions on data now. We have more data. We know that this is awful for nursing homes. We know that. We know that it can kill people who have underlying health conditions who are of advanced age. We know that. But we don't know why kids can't go to school or play baseball. That part isn't making a lot of sense right now. So we're really starting to ask those questions, like, can we not use the data? That's what public health is supposed to do, use data to make informed decisions. And that's really kind of what we're pushing for right now. So I just want to let you know where we're kind of at, and we're making it through. And it's probably not gone away completely for us, so we're not celebrating that it's 100% gone. We know that. We know that's not a good choice, because we'll just come right back and slap us in the face again. So we're just taking it a day at a time and being diligent. So we still firmly believe in the hand washing and that social distancing is important. And if you're sick, stay home. And if you're elderly or have vulnerable health conditions, you need to protect yourself. We absolutely believe that.
Since we have put some precautions in each office and stuff, what would be your well, we still gotta go by what the governor says, but how much do you think we could open back up and be okay?
I think we absolutely could. I felt that from the beginning, actually. So, and we would have in our office had we had the time to not be focused on COVID 100%. So, yeah, I think it's time for the world to get back.
Okay.
to normal. Anyways, that's all I got. So,
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Mhm.
Good report. You've done a fantastic job. Been nice, we've been like Allen County. Allen County is about the only county in eastern Kansas that hasn't had one case yet, but that just wasn't to be.
We got a few minutes before Wayne gets here. As to your question, Bob, about opening back up, I mean, to me, I feel as long as we're at that 10 and adhering to the Ad-Astra plan by the governor, I don't see any need for us to go above and beyond that in the courthouse right now. I see Judge Wine is on here for probably a similar discussion. But, I don't know, Angie, do you see anything in the other departments upstairs going above and beyond the Ad-Astra plan like we are now? Open it back up, each department keeps their record of who's in there, and
Right, well,
if you want to continue my appointment like, per office, that's fine, but
yeah, I think that's what most of them are doing. I did pull my table back from the door to let anyone in the courthouse in to do mail instead of us doing it for them. But I still want to keep citizens at the table instead of getting clear up to the counter. And I need to put a sign-in sheet, I suppose, if someone comes in. So that's kind of what we're.
I don't see Randy today, whether he needs
He's
his personnel back from the lobby.
But
To
he
perform
actually
other
wants to come
tasks.
in at the end of the meeting. I just got an email.
Okay.
So that's about 10:10.
When some of our offices have put up barriers and so forth, and I think that's very good. It's- So there's precautions being taken anyway, and then abiding by the governor's orders. I think we're be good to try to get back into business. Mark, Strawn Fest still on? Nope.
Spoke to a person on the fair board and they're planning on having the fair, so.
When did you postpone to?
Something here. Probably next year, to be honest.
Too bad. You have something else?
Oh, as if you were at a law. Almost. I'll be back.
That's for me on the computer.
This one.
Might have to do it.
Randy, we had a little discussion earlier. We've got a couple minutes here till Wayne gets in the building.
Yeah.
We were looking at if you're needing your staff back that's currently in the lobby, going back to doors open, and then people would sign in at whoever their office they're visiting.
Yeah, we are. We opened back up this day, the sheriff's office, given consulting with the health officials and all that. We opened back up and started doing the things that we had cut back services on, like the VIN checks and the lockouts and all that. So we're unlocking our doors. I think it's time.
Yeah.
And with where we're at as a community, I think we're in good shape for now. So yes, I could use those people back.
Yeah, and we were gonna.
Yeah.
I see Judge Wine's on the agenda too.
Yeah. And with courts.
That's gonna play a part of it.
Gonna play a major role in it. We don't know what's gonna happen this summer with jury trials and everything else. So it's gonna play a major impact on the courthouse.
Yeah.
And stuff, how we handle that, security and stuff. So.
All right.
Yep, that'd be great.
Wayne, if you're ready.
Okay.
Morning, Wayne.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'll go get ready to sign these things. This would be the statutory bond the chairman would sign in the contract. This would be conscription zone. I have a few talking points that I'll need to have a little time. I may run past my time a little bit, but I'm glad to stop and let the judge come in and finish up. So with that, no road permits, no zoning permits, nothing to report at the landfill at this point. We do plan on starting out there. I know I'm kind of running into construction zone when I do that, but actually this week we plan on going out there and doing some work. We started on cell number 4. And so then the next one would be the signing of the payroll notice for, this should be our last summer help at this point that we have scheduled. So that would be a total of 9 of summer help.
Motion 2020-16, move to review and approve the CP2 for Kevin Burke, summer help, subject to regular IPP, wage classification M1 with a wage of $11.33, effective 5/18/2020, number of hours worked not to exceed 560. Tom has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Don is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
The next motion is to finalize the contracts that we would have with Clean Air and Water Systems. They're doing the liner for cell number 4, which was previously approved.
Motion 2020-27, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer and approval as performed by the county attorney, to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the contract documents with Clean Air and Water Systems of Doosan, Wisconsin, for the construction liner material and placement of material for cell number 4, project LF 2001-C.
So moved.
Bob has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Thomas second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. The construction zone, now of course we'll be working the 410s this week, and then next week we'll have a holiday, and then we'll be working additional 4 days, 8s is how that works. We also had a call out on Sunday. The John Redmond was backing up water over on 16th by New Strong, and so we placed additional barricades. Now it is properly signed for low water crossing for potential hazards all the time, but we, when we're made aware of it and know the water is crossing, we try to set up some additional barricades and get additional notification. And so Jeff went out there Sunday and done that. So right now, bridge crew still working on some entrance work. The assistant fleet is doing landfill prep. As I said earlier, we're working out there on cell number 4. Crack filling countywide, boom mowing, and then mowing around cemeteries for the mowing crew and also the blade crew. What we're doing there is, I know that we'd like to go clear back out from the cemetery clear to the asphalt road, but at this point we're trying to catch as many cemeteries as we can, and that would be mowing a mile both ways from the cemetery. So it may not take us clear to the asphalt road, but we're doing what we can for the conditions that we're in. Just like last year, for the most part, it's just the ditches are extremely wet. Can't get in there. Get that mowing done. Signed maintenance countywide. Sheriff's office, I understand, is working a case right now where some of our signs have been recovered. So thanks to their efforts, we're getting some of our signs back from previous vandalism or items stolen. Hauling rock to the blade crews. I know the roads are not the best of shape, but I'd also say too, if folks would kind of realize how much moisture that we've had coming out of the winter, and that's kind of where we're at right now. There are several areas we're trying to add gravel, but then we're also trying to also get ready for dust control and get ready for our chip seals. So, we're working several things at once. Our chip seals right now, actually will not be until, the first part of June. We tried to get them in, earlier this year because they have been late before, but, we're trying towards, we were trying actually for the end of May, but, more realistically right now, it's more like the first week, second week in June is what we're looking at this point. We still have to do some prep work out there. That's really what's kind of holding us up, to be able to do that. So that's construction zone, unless you have any questions. Then I'd like to move on to some talking points, unless the judge is here, and I'd be able to yield and come back.
We still got 10 minutes. Can you do it in 10 minutes?
No,
Okay.
not to have a good one, because there's going to be some discussion here. So if you'd like me to yield, I'd be glad to step back.
That probably sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Judge Wine is here, and if you're ready. Morning.
Good morning. Well, first of all, I wanted to introduce, we have a new head clerk, it's Kelsey back here. She's, took over for Debbie. Debbie had been here for into a couple decades, and then we had Alex for maybe 5 to 7 years, and Kelsey's gonna be here for a while, we hope, so she's our new head clerk for district court. The first thing I wanted to ask is if we could, there's a slot in the entranceway to the county building, kind of by where security's been sitting, that has a phone in there. And we have a public access computer that has, not all, but most of our court records that folks could come in and look up on. But in our space in our office, it's gonna be difficult to keep 6 foot if somebody's in there needing help and have somebody sitting near that computer. And it's something that I know the newspaper uses quite a bit. The title folks go in there, and there's times where they may need, 10 minutes to 30 minutes to look some stuff up. And so I guess my request is if we could move that public access computer into that nook. We wouldn't get rid of the phone. We may have to move it to the sidewall, but that way, if folks want to come and look at something up for court record, they could do that in the hallway where there's a little more space around folks. I think we've talked with staff, and I think Kelsey spoke with Angie, and everybody so far has been okay, but I wanted to get your folks' approval to do that, and I'd be happy to answer questions if you had any.
Is that doable, Brad?
It is doable. They talked with me.
Everybody okay with that?
Okay.
Okay, I think that'll help. And then the only other thing real quick, the sheriff's department's been very good. I think the undersheriff's still here. We're working up throughout the district. Since I'm here, I'll tell you the 4 counties and trying to make sure that we're able to comply with what our chief justice has put down as far as requirements when folks come in. I'm just going to use an example. She wants us to wipe down any surface that somebody touches in between cases, and we're working out the logistics on that. That's going to include probably out there in front of the clerk's office. We have some pews out there in the hallway. I think that's the only part that would be kind of in the public aside from outside the courtroom. We may have to mark those off or even move them to make sure we can keep 6 foot distancing. And there'll be some other things we do inside the courtroom to help that out. But I want to make sure that's okay with you folks if we move those benches or mark them off. Is that all right? Okay. I'll go into more detail with you when we finalize our procedures. I just wanted to get those 2 permissions before we do anything else. Anybody else have any questions?
No.
All right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you can do that quick.
I'll run into your break a little bit.
That's all right.
Okay. So with this, just to let you know, cost share program was submitted here last year. Our first round was not selected, and our cost share program is acceleration, deceleration lanes there on 75 highway. We have at least 6 locations that we're looking at this point. Our total project cost is $1,176,000. I resubmitted our application, also updated the application too, because one is the schedule changed, obviously. And then we were talking previously, we went in with a 15% match. And last we spoke, I went in with a 20% match. So that's where I'm at now to try to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit as far as being able to be selected. So, the county share on that would be at this point would be $296,000. Our 20% match would be $176,000. And then on top of the match is the engineering and inspection costs according to this application, which is $120,000. So that was submitted. Hopefully, we'll be selected for this round. And then what you'll see is construction according to the schedule would be next year. One thing that makes this probably just a little bit more difficult, it's not a county project, meaning that it must be, it's oversight by KDOT since it's on 75 highway. And that's where you're gonna have plan approval and their requirements to be met. So that's just information. Capital improvement plan, this would be the one for discussion, and some of this, and this actually is gonna lead into advice that I'm gonna ask of you to allow me to move forward. So, just to give you an update, I'm looking at the capital improvement plan. And so this one was approved October the 7th of 2019. And so what we have in the landfill plan for 2019, construction cell number 4, which was the engineering and permitting, my actual cost at this point, I feel we're going to be right around $100,000. So that means that that saves the county $100,000 at this point, is where we're looking. So that could be updated if you'd like. I'm okay with that. The BOMAG over 2020 now, and looking at that, as we have a replacement of a BOMAG, we estimated $800,000 for that, and I'd like to get into that just here in a minute. But also we had the construction cell for $600,000. Construction cell at this point, I feel is probably going to be pretty close to that. Right now, our rock was $226,350. Our liner was $199,822. And then what we'll have is just basically a labor charge road and bridge into cell number 4. So we'll be close to $600,000. I hate to trim that at this point. But the BOMAG though is, Jeff has done some work on that one. And with that is, let me get you some information here. This is the BOMAG that we have. This is the compactor. Just pass this around, show that to you. That's what you see at the landfill. Now, there's no way of getting around and not having that piece of machinery. According to our permitting applications or requirements for the landfill, it is to have a compactor. That compactor weighs approximately 70,000 pounds. So there is a rate of compaction that the waste is required to maintain. One is, the more that you're able to compact it, the more airspace that you save. This is something I spoke about a couple weeks back, is the saving of the airspace is basically value as far as the lifespan of your landfill. So you don't want to go lighter equipment, and there is a minimum that you maintain your compaction. So we're really, where we're at with that particular one is, and I think Bob has the purchase onto it. Now, the purchase on that particular one was $359,235 back in 05. I believe also that reflects a trade-in. So that purchase actually reflects a trade-in. What folks are recalling right now was over $400,000 for that machinery. But right now on that document that you see there is actually the purchase price, which probably reflects that trade-in. So Jeff has done some work onto it. Has contacted a Berry tractor and Van Keppel equipment. This would be for another BOMAG. So brand new BOMAG, roughly right now, this is not necessarily a quote. This is what it's going to cost approximately for this piece of machinery. $675,000. All right. We estimated $800,000. The new BOMAG for Berry tractor and Van Keppel, $675,000 roughly right now. As the work that Jeff has done on this is we also have some options, and this would be with, fully equipment, so it'd be a Caterpillar. Now, a brand new Caterpillar, once again, these are just, we get rough numbers, we ask them to give us rough numbers. $712,530. So that would be a new one. But they have, which we were not aware of, and we did double check this with Van Keppel too. Bomag does not have this, so this is kind of a single type source. The way we're approaching this is they actually have a 2008 compactor, which they're going to go back and do a total rebuild onto, and then a total powertrain rebuild as well. That's going to have a 3-year warranty on the powertrain. Okay, so it's practically a brand new piece of equipment, but it's so they're rebuilding the steel. Really, what amounts to. That one goes for, once again, the numbers are rough at this point, $420,000. But the thing is with this is it's such a good deal versus what a brand new one is, that you have several counties that's kind of bidding for it or looking at it and it's interested into it. So it's kind of like one of those things, either you get your foot in the door and say, hey, I'd like it, or you miss that opportunity. It does not have the Tier 4, the emissions. So we feel that actually with that, since we're looking at an 08, with that, then what we're looking at is a piece of machinery that won't have the problems that we're having with our new trucks, for the most part.
Have they been through the engine on this?
They will.
They will?
Yes, this is a total rebuild, so they'll totally go through the engine. And so it'd be a brand new engine, brand new powertrain, which would be all the hydraulics and everything that goes along with it. Now, there would still be some discussion as far as making sure that we get the proper pads for it, make sure we get the proper guard protection. As you saw in that photo, there was a trash guard that's on the front of the pushing blade. And so you'd have to make sure you have all that. You'd have to make sure that the feet on the drums are the correct feet to be able to maximize the pounds per square inch on that for the compaction. So those would be talking points that would still need to be brought forward. But if you like that idea, you're looking at something when we had budgeted $800,000. So, you know, you're looking at savings of over $380,000, approximately. So from what we budgeted. So that's just, I mean, that's something for you to consider. If you'd like to go that way, I do have a motion to continue going that way. And, but I'd also open it up for discussion. I mean, obviously open it up for discussion, but the way my motion would read, if you'd like to go that way, is based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to authorize the county engineer to enter into an agreement with Foley Equipment Chanute for the intention to purchase one used and remanufactured with certified powertrain 2008 Caterpillar model H260, I believe that number's off a little bit. 226, I'll have to correct that one.
How bad is our Mobag thing? Our Bomag? Are we having a lot of trouble with it now, or?
We've blown a couple of turbos onto it, so there's been a couple of times.
Other than that, my question is, can you use 2 of them out there, or would it be?
Well, the used to, no, not necessarily. It does, now the thing is, it may be used out there a little bit longer until it actually hits the fence or blow the engine up. The reason why I say that, Bob, is we don't think the trade-in onto it's going to be, and this is even talking with the dealer, the trade-in on this is going to be somewhere around $20,000 to $40,000. That's all you're going to get out of it. You're just paying for steel.
Scrap price, yeah.
Yeah, but it's scrap, right? If it blows, it's scrap.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I mean, you could run 2 that way, but what it amounts to is, what you'd be doing is, now as I say, the numbers, I'd have to double check this, or this number's off a little bit, so that's 826H. I'll get this to you here in a minute. But it also says, compactor, final purchase agreement shall be authorized by the county commission at a later date. So all I'm asking with this motion is give me the authority to enter into an agreement to say our intentions would be to purchase this, providing that we can all come to terms and you would have the final approval and the final price on this to be able to move forward. So that's really the question. Do you want to, would you want to do that?
You mentioned the warranty on this would be a 3-year warranty. On the new Mobac 675 and the new Cat 712, what type of warranty do they have on the brand new equipment?
I think it's the same one.
Same.
Yes, sir.
Still
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Can you buy an extended warranty?
Yes, you would be able to. That would have to be corrected on all of them. You can, Don, you can get an extended warranty on them. Now, of course, you have to pay up, but I don't know what those numbers would be. But we have done it before.
Has there been any discussion of consideration to the BOMAG offer any factory reconditioning?
We asked them if they had it. They said they did not.
They're not doing it.
Yeah. So yes, we asked that same, but now we also asked on leasing. They don't really have a lease program. What they have is a purchase program. It's a 5-year type purchase program, which they would add the interest associated with it. So we've tried to look at other options as to say, okay, is there another way of doing this without the purchase? But what they have is they have an annual percentage rate of 3.25% that you'd be paying on top of it. So that's if you want, but it's not a lease program. That's just a purchase program. It's a 5-year purchase program.
When would this rebuilt be available?
Don't know on that one, Bob. I don't know what stage they're in. I know that the sales associates have information to make it available, but I don't know what that delivery date would be. I would say that to be able to enter into that, mine was, let's see what we can do before we actually enter into getting all the details. Because there's going to be more details with this. And that's why I say at the very end of that motion that you're still going to have the final approval on the purchase. But that would be after we go through and get all the details.
In our budgeted capital improvement for replacement of that, what were we, was it 800?
It was 800,000, yes.
Yeah.
Personally, I would think that if we do go this route, I would want to go with, see what they, I know they wouldn't give us much more than jump price, but I still would want to go, let them move that piece of equipment out, give us something for it and move the old one out.
Yes.
Instead of us having to mess with it.
And that would be part of it. It's going to have more value if it's running than not. I'd hate to run it too, basically, where we'd have to haul it to the junk.
We're pretty close to the dump right now.
Yes, yes it is. Yes, it is.
Motion 2020-35, based upon the recommendation of county engineer, move to authorize and direct the county engineer to enter into an agreement with Foley Equipment of Chanute, Kansas for the intention to purchase one used and remanufactured with certified powertrain 2008 Caterpillar model 826H compactor. Final purchase agreement should be authorized by the county commission at a later date.
One thing I see with this is, are we committing ourselves that we have to buy this? In other words, if our BOMAG quits tomorrow and they don't have this available for 6 months, are we committed to buy this? We may go out and buy a new one the next day, but are we committed to have to still buy this one if we have to do a replacement? That's one of my concerns is we enter into an agreement.
I doubt anybody has one of these just sitting around to be purchased. This isn't like
Well, it's here or there, but the point of it is, are we committing ourselves that we are going to have to buy this one instead of that?
No.
I feel that I'm entering into a discussion phase or an agreement phase. And the thing is say if we can't come to terms, then we walk away. It'd be like a good faith on purchasing.
To me, that's where the out would be. If you don't come to terms on some extra cost to it, we've got an out.
We got an out. Because at the end of it,
To me, we got an out.
and your out is at the very end. You have to approve the final purchase. You have to approve basically writing the check. And that's the end of it. That's where I thought to put it there.
And I understand that fully. I'd like to have Wade look at this motion before we act on it. I have a little concern. I don't want to commit ourselves to something. I'd like to have Wade take a look at it.
Based on the recommendation of the county engineer and the county attorney as to form, or approval of the county attorney as to form.
No, I want him to look at the actual, right,
Right. I'm saying,
and with, yes,
we can approve
with
the
his,
motion. He can approve it as to form, and if he doesn't, then we won't do it. Just like,
I would rather he approve it before we vote on it.
no different than motion 2020-27 on the contract for the liner.
But if he doesn't approve it as to form, there's no sense making a motion and then.
Right. Okay.
I'd rather, I don't know whether Wade's available. Just take a look at this. I just feel more comfortable if he would look at it before we make a decision.
Well, I have a couple more talking points so we can make that work. So, the next one is, the intention here is to have open discussion, and to just, pass on information more than anything else. And, Randy's here as well. So what we have is, it has been standard operation for the most part to stockpile our chips at different locations in the county. Mostly what we find is the southeast quadrant of the county is where we're lacking the availability for the chips. And so right now, for example, if you go into our yard, we have been moving chips from Waverly down to the Burlington, to our yard. And so we had stockpiled chips there. And so anything within that area, we're able to haul to our chip seal projects. This is the 2020 chip seal projects. I wish I had more maps, but I'll pass this around just to show you. But as I showed you here is we're looking for chips down in the Gridley area. We have a rock quarry, Harshman Rock Quarry takes care of our chips down in the Gridley area. Over here on 12th Road, these are projects that we already been approved. Over here is we're actually going to be pulling from the stockpile out of our yard. And so we haul down during bad weather and such as that, where we're not hauling on other projects, is we'll haul down to our yard and fill up our yard. And so at that point, we'll haul the chips from our yard. As you can see how relatively close that is from our yard to the location, so south, and then also over here in 12. But our problem with trying to haul from our yard all the way down here, or Gridley, north of Gridley, all the way from Gridley over here in this area, it takes at least an hour turnaround time for our trucks. And so that's not practical. So I have 9 to 11 folks on a chip seal project, and I'm able to lay those chips as fast as I get them, because when I get that oil on that distributor truck, we lay the oil, then we put the chips right on top of it. So as long as we have oil and we have the chips, we're able to keep going down the road and lay it fairly fast. Now, keeping in mind that we've done this before, we're somewhere around $16,000 per mile. We're cheaper than most folks pay for it. We're $22,000 when you add the oil that we use for our fog seal. But we lay pretty good chip seal in the county. We've been noted by the state to be second to none. And I take very much a lot of pride in that. But that's because we do also gradation on our chips, and we value, or we make sure that the chips have value for the chip seal that we're going to lay it down on. But as you can see in this area here, we don't have any rock quarry down in the southeast quadrant. So we have at different times set chips. Landowners would work with us, find a flat area, an area that drains, and we put the chips. Now, some of the chips do get wasted in those areas. There's no question about it. Okay, anytime you put rock on on either compacted or uncompacted area, you're gonna waste some of that, rock, especially on more uncompacted area. And we do blade the area to make sure that it is draining and it is prepared for the chips that we haul down. We also will blade the road that we travel on. But now what the criteria that we're looking for is we're trying to pull off on an asphalt road, an existing asphalt road, to be able to pull into, most of the time, one of the farmers' yards, and that's where we'll stockpile it. We contacted the co-op. They do not have, Leroy Co-op does not have an area sufficient enough to haul or to handle the tonnage that we're looking at. We've contacted them several times. They do not have it.
Have we contacted the cities? I know Gridley has a big yard.
Well, it's not, but see, it's not Gridley. Once again, we still have over 14 miles before we get.
Say Leroy, does Leroy City have a yard? A few years ago, didn't we stockpile something in Leroy?
It's been stockpiled at the high school parking lot.
In the high school parking lot.
That's where they've been plowing. They can put several hundred tons in there.
But we have done that for when we were doing basically the chip seals for the city. We have done that. But to go in town with our trucks and grab the chips to stockpile everything and go out of town and not benefit the town, then we're going to be damaging the roads in Leroy, okay, with our trucks. Then you're going to be paying for the damage for the roads in Leroy. So we have at different times, different locations that we have stockpiled.
What about Gridley there? You got the state location that has got very little material on that. Would the state work with you and allow you to put everything there for Gridley's area?
What we're looking at right now for the CMK is 2,431 tons is what we're looking at. So we can start there, but you wouldn't be able to put everything there. That's our problem. So now what we'd have to do is stop in the middle of our operations, reload, and then stockpile some more. So, I mean, if you're saying don't do it, that's fine. I mean, we can go away from it, the practice, but I'm leaving this for discussion for yours. You know, let us know if you don't want to stockpile the chips, then what we'll do is we'll haul them out of our Burlington our shop and just take them there. It just means it's going to take longer to get there, and you won't get as many miles done.
How do we pick the landowners that we work with?
Well, once again, we look for access, and so access needs to be a yard large enough for us to be able to move around, to go in, be able to load up and then circle out. And then it also needs to have a good drive and good roads as far as getting to that site. So that's really kind of what we're looking at.
You made a comment that we use chips, whether we put it on for fairground room, or do we build pads and stuff to set these on to put the chips on, or do we just go out and start laying them down and then do we clean them up?
Kind of just depends on the site, but wherever.
Leave them to the landowners, or what do we do about that?
No, we'll prepare the site for the most part. What we'll do is blade it to drain is how we look at it. But we don't go in and do 12 inches of cement treated base or anything like that. We don't prepare the site that way. All we're doing would be to take, if there's any vegetation, we take the vegetation off, scrape that off, and then once again grade it to drain, and then at that point we'd stockpile the material there.
We don't haul anything in compacted area or anything like that then?
As far as I know, we have not hauled in.
So
what you're saying, like 2 inch or 3 inch rock, if I'm reading it.
So when we clean up, do we clean dirt or do we leave? How do we clean up after?
If there's chips that are still usable, say if there was a pile that's 2 foot tall or something like that, then what we'd do is windrow that and pick up the material. But then after that, when you got to the point where you're windrowing dirt, you'd basically stop at that point. You just smooth it off. So we're not trying to leave, say, 6 inches or anything like that. What we're trying to do is get as much of the good materials we can, but still not get into the dirt.
So do we have an agreement with people that we're not going to get it totally cleaned up? I mean, I don't want somebody coming back.
There's an understanding of that, yes, but yes,
Okay.
there's an understanding that we're not totally getting it.
Don't want them coming back later and saying, well, you guys left all this trash here on.
No, we, once again, we blade it off, we leave it in a neat, order at the end of it, just like we do all of our projects, and that's the same agreement that we have with all of our projects, is anytime we go in on landowners, basically we'll clean up our mess, and then we'll, blade it clean or straighten it up, and we're out of there. But give you some ideas of, Mr. Gluey's is the one that we're looking at for the chips. And we have used his site before, and this is the aerial photo, and then there's a picture at ground level.
So like if you haul in 20,000 tons, do you get 19,500 back, or do you get?
Of course, that's always dependent upon how compacted the area is, because the amount of, So, as you know, you're gonna have a certain amount of waste, so you could probably say 10% waste is what you're gonna find. But when you take a look at it and you start putting the numbers with it, if you have 9 to 11 folks and you take their wages and you take that time that you have associated with it, it pays for the chips. It pays for the hauling. Should we approach it that way? Once again, I leave it up to you. That's the way we have been approaching it, because we're being mindful of trying to be cost efficient as much as possible, and to try to save the county money. And that's how we see that we can be, saving the county money, is being efficient in our operations. And our operations is to stockpile. And just to give you another idea of stockpiling, the company that's doing the 6 bridges on the overlays, they're actually going to stockpile their rocks, their chips that goes with that column or overlay. They're going to stockpile that in our yard. I mean, it's not uncommon to stockpile your material at different locations.
How many tons of material you gonna need there southeast Louisville?
2,431 tons is what we're estimating for the CMK, and then there's just a little bit where we're doing the double chip seal, which we have another 191 tons.
You take that lot there, Doug Lewis, they've got all their equipment parked there. You probably wouldn't have to clean up a lot there, because he wouldn't care if you probably left 3 or 4 inches off.
Well,
And there's already a lot of rock there at base.
Yeah.
Because they park all their semis in there.
That one we have used before.
Yes.
It seems to be well compacted, well drained area, but we are on private property at that point. But we enter into an agreement. We do have the documents. Our intention is to have the documents signed and everybody understands. But it's by no means some 5 or 10 page type an agreement document. It's just our simple 1-page document where we come off right away and are working with a landowner. I mean, that's all it is.
I know you gave us a story about the cities, but I'm not sure that we would hurt the streets in the cities that much. And I would rather, what Don just said, leave 3 or 4, 5, 6 inches of rock for a personal wife. We could leave that 3 or 4, 5, 6 inches of rock for the city, and they could probably utilize it too. So I would a lot rather see us trying to work with the cities and the privates out there on that. Randy, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I know.
England.
I know Wayne had mentioned me earlier and stuff that, and because I've received some information, and it'd probably be better if we do it in the executive session as to, since it involves investigative matters, that a 10-minute executive session with the commission and Wayne and county attorney, just so I can tell you the fill-in story. It's nothing significant, but I think for me, I need to disclose that.
They're wait.
So
I don't know whether, are you requesting?
I am, I'd be requesting a 10-minute executive session.
And this, would it be to protect the privacy rights of
Yeah.
personnel? By discussing it, it would impact the privacy rights of personnel or an employee? Is that?
It would.
Okay. So it would be under the non-elected personnel matter exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Is that my understanding?
Yes. And I don't need very long.
So you're requesting an executive session for the commission to recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel to protect the privacy rights of non-elected personnel under the non-elected personnel matters exception, KSA 7543-19B1. Myself, you, Wayne, and the
Yes.
commission?
Yes.
All right. And for how long?
I just need 10 minutes. I mean, I don't foresee the commission having a lot of questions. It's mainly just to provide some information, brief information, and then move on.
So, Mr. Chairman.
John has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We'll go in for 10 minutes to return here. We'll go in at 10:07, including the sheriff, the engineer, the counselor, and commission.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no other way for me, what game I was just 6 months ago. I was lucky. Shouldn't be there. The beat is fine.
I'm good. How are you? How you doing, Mark?
$9
Good morning.
Last time they usually buy that. We buy our DC strip, you know, we have it right from that. Last time they had that, I was wanting to get another one. We are still.
I don't see what it's gonna cost me. I'm thinking, you know, it's like this.
Actually, the work wasn't that good. Yeah, I think it's still written. But he gets work for a truck. Yes, not the house. Yeah, look at that. Well, I know board was back in 20. Well, it's like, all of the city and I want to start to get up. Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. That's really good one. I want to see them. Correct. I think we need to focus on. And get the game with the next and I mean, I understand there's what you do. I think we need to do more.
Yeah, but I know it's. Yeah, I did that. That's what.
Thank you.
Luckily, I got my hair within a week before all this started. A lot of times, like 5 or 6 weeks off. Yeah. Yeah. But that's. Over like everything, somebody else. You should hear that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Say we're back in, I'll take a break.
We're back in.
All right, we'll take a break.
Take a break.
Guys will have to sign these too, since you're.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Cheers. Slide this down, you know.
All right. Oh, okay, mercy. Did we make it back in time?
Yep.
We did?
Hey Wade, did you have a chance to review this?
Looked at it.
Is that jail draft? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping this, get some meetings scheduled.
And I sent it to him over the weekend to review the commissioner.
Oh.
And Wade.
Good.
And then I also have copies for today if they need
Okay.
to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 places. Let's run upstairs. I'll be right back.
Hey, Don,
Let me show you real quick.
hey, we got some of those masks too. Russell would drop those off.
Yeah.
Are those the N90, they say K N95s. Are those the actual N95s?
No, because he had said these were from the hospital and they couldn't use them.
Because they weren't the medical
They
grade
weren't,
ones.
yes.
Right.
Okay. Well, I left those for options for our folks.
I asked them if they wanted one too.
Yeah.
I know Fred will use one.
Right. I have some painting to do, like around my house and stuff like that, and you cannot find any of those masks. Yeah,
Well, you could use that, couldn't you? Get some
I
for
have to get
Russell.
permission.
I bet you could ask Russell and tell him that's for personal.
There you go. See if he has it. Tried to get those respirators. I was at the Menards.
If we're ready, continue our discussion.
So, with that, mine is, we have some chips to lay out, down in the, Leroy area. And I'm asking for advice from the commission, how do you like me to stockpile those? So,
I'll say my personal opinion is, I think you should check with the cities before you do anything else. If the cities are okay with it, explain to them, yes, there may be a little road damage possibly.
Okay.
But I think the city should have first opportunity.
Okay.
We have them in each corner and in the center of the county, so.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Is that? Well, let me have that discussion because it doesn't have to happen today. So I'll visit with the cities and then bring it back here next week.
Okay.
Let you know what the cities want to do. Okay. All right. The next one on my list is to talk about, but I don't want to lose weight either as far as that going back to the compactor.
Yes.
Okay.
As Wade's here, could we?
You got another copy of it, so give to Wade.
I think he does have a copy
Okay.
on that motion, so. There's no contracts or anything at this point. All I'm looking for is the ability to enter into an agreement to intent to purchase a compactor. That's gonna be over, what was it, 400,
420.
420, 420,000.
Wade, I'm the one that asked that you read that, because I kind of interpret that once we go into this agreement, we're pretty well committed to it. Because we've actually probably taken it off the market for them, for anyone else. And I just want to know if that's,
But I think they could put it back, that's a good point, Bob, but I think they could put it back on the market pretty quick. Because right now, what we're being told is another county that's adjoining us, and I don't want to say which county, is looking at it too. At the same time that we're looking at it.
So this puts it on hold, is that,
Yes.
and then,
We would negotiate, the details of the equipment to make sure that they're agreeable, and then what the final price would be. And it's a used piece of equipment that's being refurbished.
don't get me wrong, Wayne, I think this refurbished programs are probably going to be the way of the future. I think they're a good program.
Right.
It benefits everyone.
Right.
But I just concerned whether this says that I'm thinking maybe we ought, if we're doing, just have a motion that we're going to buy. And, you know, that's my only concern.
And I'm trying to acquire a motion that when we bring it back to the salesman is to say, hey, we got at least a commitment to say that they're interested.
You want to jump ahead of the other county?
We want to get ahead of the other county. Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
so is there
They may be
something,
beating us to the punch anyway.
Nothing beyond that.
They're watching us.
Or paper.
if everything falls apart, you're able to
I don't
pull out
think
of
this
it?
ties is being.
That would be the
Final call.
understanding that I would have with them when we, if there's any document to be signed, that would be the understanding that I have.
Generally isn't that hot off the market.
To which you would
I don't really like doing
any type of document like that, I would have to look
We
at.
don't purchase.
I think with that,
Does this need to say as to for approval of county attorney also in this motion then? As to form.
probably doesn't hurt.
So you think it's okay then?
With, I mean,
The motion is okay to proceed?
with the intent to purchase, and then that doesn't guarantee that it's being purchased. And it says the final purchase agreement has to be authorized by the commission, so.
Okay.
But the intent to purchase, that wording is, I think that's where you're hung up. Maybe there's some better words that could be used with.
Enter into negotiations or something like that.
I think what type of, do they want it to say intent to purchase, or is there other words that could be used instead of, intent to purchase sort of sounds like a commitment, which I understand that's what you're wanting, but it has to pass certain thresholds, and I don't know what those thresholds are, to meet your needs. So if it meets those needs, then the idea would be to purchase, but does that make sense?
Without, I wasn't going to add a lot of extra words to describe it, so I just used that one word. And the point would be that they're needing at least enough commitment that they're taking it off the market.
Could be potential to purchase instead of intent.
That would be a word thing that I think Wade would have to weigh in on potential what this. But intent was the intent was basically, it's my intention to, so if I was purchasing land, for example, it's something that happened here too in my life here recently. My intention is to purchase this land. Well, that's my intention. If something falls apart, my intention was there,
To me, you're
but in
not
good
tied-
faith.
To me, you're not tied to that purchase,
Yeah.
your word intent takes care of it.
Because, yeah, my intent is to do that, because in good faith, I'm acting towards that. Mine is if I intended to buy it and I didn't enter in with good faith, then I would say that there would be a potential liability situation on our part. But
But you use the word with your intent to buy if, so maybe if you add if it meets the approval of the requirements of the county engineer.
that's what that would be fine. That's what I need. I need this guy right here to have that specialty there for that word, yeah.
So if you just add,
After compactor, if you have if final purchase agreement, if final purchase terms are agreed upon. So we have, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer and approval as performed by the county attorney, to enter into an agreement with Foley Equipment, Chinook, Kansas, for the intention to purchase one used and remanufactured with certified powertrain 2008 Caterpillar model 826H compactor, if the final purchase terms are agreed upon and authorized by the county commission at a later date.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Bob has moved and Tom has seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the next one is, when I'm looking at our public works equipment schedule for 2020. Of course, we've already done the purchase of the broom. We've already done the rebuild of the motor grader. There's several other items that we have not started on. And one of them we'd like to start on is actually the 10-wheel dump truck. And so on the 10-wheel dump truck, I'd like to start there. Our budget initially was 171 is what we have. What we're looking at is T22. Now, T22, I'll just pass around T22. From the photo, you got to keep in mind the photo represents its new purchase for the most part, because we update our catalogs when we get our equipment. T22 is a 2008 International. Our purchase price was $117,754. Our current odometer, I know it's not correct on that photo because we don't update that photo with the odometer, just the odometer reading. But our current odometer reading is 379,750 miles onto it. The problem is, and I like this, it was a great description, it's a shop hog. What we call basically something that's been in the shop a lot. All right. So just this year alone, keeping in mind this is May, we've already spent $13,661 onto it. Since its purchase in 2008 to today, our total cost, this is labor and everything. Labor is only $25,000, but our total cost is $113,000 on this truck. We'd like to trade it in and replace it with a new truck. And so that's the numbers, that's the information I have on that truck. That's the reason why we're needing to replace it. With that, we've had this in the past, and here in 2019, we had make sure I get it correct here. We had a Kenworth truck that was purchased with also a Henderson bed here last year in 2019 for $170,909. That was total. We purchased it through the municipal program pricing with Sourcewell, formerly the National Joint Powers Government Purchasing Alliance, to which we have a contract number. Angie, I think you have a contract number with these folks too. It'd be the National Joint Powers or Sourcewell, what they call Sourcewell now. Yeah, so this is a program that the counties use throughout the state. We have used it several times in our purchasing. But what it amounts to is they have already done the collection or bids on products, and then they have the pricing. It's like state. It's almost equivalent to what KDOT would have for state pricing, what you'd call state pricing. But they do it nationally. And so this is the company that we have used many times before, and we have purchased a truck before. I'd like your permission to go ahead and start with Kenworth and get a price through this alliance and see what their price would be, and then bring that back to you next week.
Do you need another bed, or is the bed off 22 reusable?
That one, we're gonna work with options. That bed on 22 is in pretty good shape. We're gonna see what we can do. Either one is to keep the value of the truck with the bed and see what type of trade-in we'd have, take the bed off, see what type of trade-in we would have, and then come back with some options to say this is kind of our best choice or option. Because possibly we could use that bed with the new truck and that sort of thing. But those are all going to be options. I just explained 3 different options that would go with the bed.
Well, I know the city of Burlington has showed interest. They would like to get a 10-wheeler, but I'm not sure they want to take over a headache.
That's a good point, Bob.
But I would suggest we ask them first before you kind of decide what you want to do, if they're willing, and then what the trade-in might be or whatever it is. I mean,
4th option then.
Yes,
we can do that.
I would like to give that opportunity. In fact, let's give it to all the cities.
Yes.
But I know Burlington is probably the one that wants it.
Our biggest problem is those motors, the emissions, pre-emissions onto them. Unless you're running them down the road, I mean, you got to be traveling to open them up to get that.
And I've read a lot of information on that, and Navistar International has that problem, and they don't seem to want to fix it.
That urea just doesn't really kind of get in there and start cleaning things out until you're really running.
I know there's some shade tree ways to fix it, that we legally can't do that.
We can't do that.
So I would check with the cities first and then proceed with it.
Well, then what I'll do is we'll investigate that. It might be a week or two, and then we'll come back also and we'll visit with the city and see where they're at with that. And, I think at that point too, we'll have a better recommendation to say if that would be a trip for the cities or not too. We'll look at it in that respect, as far as the problems we're having with it, if they would want to have it or not.
If you're spending over $10,000 a year just to keep it on the road, it's time to move on.
So that was my last one. So that was the last one I had for discussion. I think we had a good day. I think I might have saved you $380,000. Maybe.
Now we can buy a truck.
Well, that was the landfill, or the compactor, so for the landfill. Had to have a little humor there. So sometimes it's smaller than other times.
That's something you probably ought to take care of today, if another county's interested. A lot of counties meet on Mondays, so.
They're watching us and they're saying, whoop.
We're gonna call them. We'll call them after this. So, with everybody's help, I think, we'll keep moving forward. So, thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our agenda. We have a couple items to discuss. Obviously, one of them would be our executive order that expired.
Russell, you want me to go grab one now?
Yeah, I can.
It's not our executive order.
Yeah. She's gonna meet the president this afternoon, or this week. And then,
As far as our hours of operation
then
and
our legislature's gonna meet with her Thursday.
how the lobby's
So
going.
that's gonna be interesting.
You had something, Russell?
Oh, a couple things. One little thing is, Brendan called and said they're gonna be opening up the gates. They're at 4,200 now, it's only 6,700. Just for information.
They've got the river running pretty hard right now.
And it's gonna go up by about a third. So,
Really, the old dam yesterday was just as low as it could be.
Not that high, but it's running 6-7 feet of water now.
and then our disaster declaration, is up. And the recommendation from the state is to go ahead and renew it. They kind of went back and forth, they've been talking back and forth, and originally they said, oh, for this, you don't even have to do a disaster declaration. And they said, well, yeah, you probably should, but you don't have to. And now last week, on one of our calls, they said, yeah, we highly recommend you do. And if you want to keep being eligible for supplies and liability protection and everything else, we recommend you go ahead and do it. So Wade and I have worked together to put the wording to this new disaster deck. It's basically a new one. It's kind of an extension. You know, normally they're just 7 days for this COVID thing. They said do it for 60. And so we did it for almost 60, but so it ends on a commission meeting day. So it's for 50, I don't know what it would be, 56 or something, maybe days is what it'll actually be, because that way it ends on a commission day. Because the last one actually ended Friday, I think.
Yep. We're 3
So
days.
over the weekend, technically, we weren't under the disaster declaration, so. That's my recommendation, and I believe Wade's to go ahead and essentially issue a new disaster declaration.
That's correct. This one expires, or is to remain in effect until July 16th. The 60 days, I think, would be up on the
Like this
18th.
Thursday or the Friday or something like that.
16th is a Monday, and then it can obviously be modified or terminated earlier, but that keeps us within that time period, and this is not an extension of the previous one since the last one expired, so this is a completely new one.
I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it doesn't commit us to anything, cost us anything, but it covers us if something does happen. So with that, I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign COVID-19 local public health emergency resolution dated 18th of May, 2020.
Bob has moved,
Second,
Don is second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
And, one other thing was we got a donation of masks from the Patterson Family Foundation out of Kansas City. And they're the KN95 masks, and so they aren't, quite they're one step below what the hospital and medical community can use. And so I took some of those around to all the departments and, handed some out. And my thought is the rest of them probably hold back for maybe like the courts and or elections to use some of them. So, somebody else has to talk to them. The other thing that we got advised of by the state is that we need to start giving some of the actual N95s to the dentist office. And so I've had 2 contact me so far about getting some, so I will be getting some of those to the dentist office. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else unless anybody has any questions.
Hey, Russell.
Yeah.
What about this email that I forwarded to you from the KAC as far as expenses from departments?
Yeah, I've got expenses from some departments. I haven't got any from the sheriff's office yet.
Angie didn't send that spreadsheet down to you?
I don't think so unless I missed it in my email.
Okay, because she's got it all on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So,
I think IT sent something, the health department sent something. Somebody else did too, but I don't know what it was. Can't remember who else did, but yeah,
Did we get ours too?
I don't remember.
Let me know.
There was somebody else that did, but I'm pretty sure there was another one, but I'm drawing blank on which one that was. I mean, the deadline was last week for that one. I'm sure there will be another one ongoing, but, and so I may ask Cody via Donna to send out something to the department heads maybe.
Mr. Chairman, permission to speak. I received an email from the KAC and they were wanting the COVID-19 related expenses. And I forwarded it to Russell and then, so they're gonna need a response too.
Well, I sent one. What I have. I
Okay,
sent
to the KAC, to Kim?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, of what got turned into me,
Okay,
I sent it to you.
thank you.
Yeah. But there's more out there, I think,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
that I didn't see it.
Any other questions for Russell?
While we have Russell here, Russell and I have talked, and I guess if we can sort of go into roundtable.
Yep.
I know the courthouse is maybe one of the hot topics for today, what happens with it. The 4 p.m. now has expired, the closing of the courthouse. And in talking with a couple of the officials, they've indicated once the courthouse opens up, they're still only going to operate by appointment only, at least in the interim. So last week we were waiting to see what the governor's order did, and I think we were all probably surprised that the middle option or the unknown option 1.5, which sort of changed a lot of things for a lot of people. If the courthouse is going to open, Russell and I have talked, and I know emergency management has that billboard or that sign. And we talked about an option where that could be put out on the corner of the streets. Neosho and 6th
in Neosho.
And the billboard has 3 pages.
Oh, it's unlimited pages. It has 7 characters and 3 lines. And so, you're pretty limited on what you can put on there. And so we've discussed a little bit what to put on there, but.
So I guess the idea is that the commission is looking at opening the courthouse to keep from having a number of people show up at the same time and then having the hallway stack up. And the main hallway that would likely stack up would be outside the treasurer's office and the clerk's office and outside the county attorney's office. Because they'll come in, my understanding is, Karen in the treasurer's office has indicated to me that they're gonna be by appointment only still, that their doors are gonna be locked because they don't want the mass influx. And so as soon as it opens up, our people who haven't been able to take care of tags and motor vehicle issues gonna come in and then be standing in the hall waiting. We need to probably be a little bit forward thinking and try to deal with that. So the idea would be to have the sign out, have one page maybe say call for appointment, expect long waits, call department. I don't know what it would need to say, but that might help. Because my understanding, and Randy can probably correct me if I'm wrong, people would come up to the doors of the courthouse and see all the signs and different things and turn around and walk away. Once that's removed and we don't have the presence in the front of the courthouse, then I'm not sure what it looks like. Not that it needs to look like anything, but people are gonna come in, and what we don't want is to have the social distancing requirements under whatever phase we're in violated within the courthouse. And then you add the additional layer once the court opens back up, and we have a lot of things to try to be forward thinking on and manage. And I know Judge Wine is trying to do that on his end. We didn't have a in-person docket scheduled to start on the 21st, which is Thursday. And that was canceled because I don't think Judge Wine's comfortable with where he is and getting things set up on the court side. I only mention that because we have to have a plan so before we just open the doors up. I think as of today, Randy's not going to have his staff there and available. So that would mean if we're going to have people kind of monitoring the doors and sending people up to different departments, that we'd have to have that occur internally with maybe shifts from each department. I don't even know what that looks like, if it's even something that's being considered, but I want it all to be out there. So we know what the options are.
As far as like putting a sign out, what we discussed, and I've discussed with a couple of other people, is it's just not feasible to put every department's phone number on that sign and have 5 or 6 different pages scrolling through. Assuming that we want to put the sign out, which I think is a good idea, we would need to decide what phone number we're putting on.
How do they make appointments now? They don't have phone numbers, do they? Don't they look them up?
Aren't they posted?
I don't think we have any
They're not on the
numbers
doors.
I think all your sign does say is please make appointments to conduct business.
So maybe we don't put enough phone number right there.
Numbers available on
on
the
the
door
door. We
entry.
could do that.
Yeah, I mean, the sign could say, make appointments only, numbers on the door or something.
But once they're here, so they might as well. So while I'm not even, it's open, so I'm coming in and I'm going up to the treasurer's office. Karen just walked in, so she might be the better one to explain what her plan is once the courthouse opens, because I know we had a brief conversation and maybe you want to.
I'm just looking for ideas because obviously they're gonna come up to my door and they're gonna find out that, it's by appointment only. I've been looking at like a video doorbell system. Would something like that work? The latest thing I've been kind of looking into was maybe a monitor, what I want to say, intercom system, where there would be a central place down in the lobby that they would hit a button and we would have like something there. There's like there's one that you could get at least 3 other monitors that go with it. So they hit a 3-digit code for like my office or the clerk's office or whatever. I haven't found one that's more expensive than that, but I just had that thought this morning, so I just started kind of looking at that. Wondering if we could have people, check in there.
Like a phone in the lobby and then
Yeah,
pre-programmed to each office? No, I mean,
I have not looked at anything along that line, no.
we'll get something in that phone and a list beside it.
Yes.
Kind of go back to what Fred said, people are, somehow they're contacting you for appointments now, right?
right. Most of them, as far as getting our phone number, but, I don't think they're waiting until they get to the lobby, because most of them are calling ahead and saying, how are you doing this?
So-
I have a title or whatever.
Out on the website, put a sign out front, put it on the website, and Russell does a Facebook deal and all this. Then you just say appointments only. I mean, you're pretty well telling the people that's the way it is, and put the phone number out for the offices.
Yeah, it's just a matter of people just, if the door is open and there's nothing or no one downstairs, then they're gonna come up to my door or to our doors. I'm just kind of figuring my way out the work. They'll come up there and it's gonna be by appointment only. And our phone number is gonna be on there. You can call us. We'll,
I
or
mean,
we'll step out real quick.
That can still be on the outside door too.
No matter what you do, that's it.
If a number of offices are doing it by appointment only, I don't know, is there current courthouse staff available that each office could rotate a day or whatever? Having a person down in the lobby to be doing what our guys are doing now? Just being screeners and information people, and could offices rotate shifts or whatever, taking turns on the lobby?
It's an option.
I just don't have.
To me, I don't think it's needed.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but if offices want to do that, then.
My only concern is like the mail carrier now brings the mail, and has been bringing the mail into the lobby and just leaving it in the lobby. And then my guys have been sorting it in those boxes, and if there's nobody there, then that would be something that would have to change with the mail carriers.
Well, I pretty much have already started,
Have them,
everyone can come into my office. I have a table that's moved back now, that everyone can do their own mail, and the mail person can go in and bring the mail up. So we can get rid of the boxes in the lobby as far as I'm concerned. And that way, if a citizen comes in, they're still going to be 6 foot away from us. So,
kind of clean that lobby area up.
Right.
yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, we're ready to go be open, so.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of guessing, and Wade and Randy can correct me if I'm wrong, that lobby area may be needed for chairs, for inclement weather, for
For
court,
court stuff,
for
yeah.
a bigger way to get to
Potentially.
the court.
I got it.
Yep.
Nap flying around.
No,
I think
My
the
concern
sign,
is I can't put the chairs back like where they were.
Right.
Because there's 6 of us in there. You bring 4 people in there, that's not even somebody waiting on each person, then we're over the 10 that, on for another week or 2. So, if you guys just give me permission, I'll find out what works for my office and make it work.
That's what I say. One push for each office. Each office is somewhat different, so.
right, that's, every office is gonna be a little bit different. It's been that way forever. What we need to do is, and I think Russell's got a great idea with the sign, we put the sign out. Offices are open, appointment only, call ahead.
So do we need to specify which offices are appointment? Because there's several offices, there's only, how many offices are appointment only?
What's wrong if they call ahead? They'll find out.
Well, if they call, they're gonna find out if it's by appointment or they can just walk in.
We can be more specific on social media.
Right.
Right.
Newspaper. Newspaper would be a great resource to put the story out there, wouldn't it, Mark?
But like I said, we have a lot of stuff backed up because of the fact that they gave that extension, so, we're gonna still do title work by appointment only. We're still gonna ask people with renewals and taxes to use our outside drop box.
That's really all I had as related to that topic, just so everybody has kind of a full.
So, Karen, the 4 PM closure, because that expired Friday, because that was tied to our disaster declaration. Do we still need to lock the doors at 4 o'clock?
We close at 4:30 anyway, stop doing business because we have to do all the money count. I really need that extra 30 minutes, but if I'm doing it by appointment only, I just stop.
That's how you can schedule it, right?
It's just-
So,
Make it work.
right, so we don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
So the only additional layer to that is the basement door is locked, and that was a part of what had been done back in March 16th. So does that door remain locked?
Keep it locked.
And that kind of ties in with the active shooter stuff. That was one of the recommendations on the active shooter stuff. So
2 years ago.
we would just kind of be, by people being used to it now would be the opportunity time if we want to do that.
Yes.
Continue that.
Great opportunity to initiate that.
So the sign that's on that door just needs to be modified, because I think it says something.
No public access authorized. Employees only.
COVID-19 or something.
How do you get in that door?
I think the only thing I would do on that door is I would, have
I haven't been down there.
Andy or someone check
I
to
just
see
avoid
if
it
Brad
because it's not locked.
a, ID card for employees to get in. And then, because then, like I said, it's closed now, perfect timing. And then if you have to use your badge to get in, that's what it is from now on, because that's part of the hour string.
It's a metal key, it's not electronic.
Standard key.
Where your feet?
I don't know what it takes to.
It doesn't have an electronic.
I mean, we put electronic key on it, that's what I'm saying. Only employees would have a
Badge.
whatever it be.
That's what we did on our door. Our glass doors coming in and Brad programmed them for us, and
Is that an option on that door?
It's an option on that door.
it's not a cheap option, but it's an option.
That's
I guess I would suggest the commission go ahead and give Brad authorization to do that.
Give Brad authorization to get pricing on that and see what it's gonna take, and we can
Yeah.
approve it next week.
Okay.
They give you the authorization. Pricing, yes.
Yeah, check it out, bring it back.
I want to say it was around, what, 1,500? Are they more now? Yeah.
And then, what, your office can make sure everyone has a card that will work, every employee has a card that will work.
Well, a joint effort between Brad and I.
Yeah.
It's Brad does part of it and we do part of it, yeah.
Okay, so, sign. Out corner, electronic sign, new signs on the doors, basement door staying locked. Doors closed at 5 o'clock.
And I would.
Call
add-
ahead.
And I would add maybe.
Call ahead.
Put it on our website, that's kind of the way it is.
Sure.
And put it on your Facebook deal, a lot of people look at that.
Right.
That's probably,
And so,
I'm agree with that.
and so I will probably send an email out to all the department heads for clarification, just like Karen's, you know, close for business at 4 or whatever. We'll send that out to all the department heads and send if they have any special thing. So we have one basically press release, if you will,
At least.
outlining what every department's doing, and so we can put that on social media and the website. And so we want this, so like when we've set the sign up before for different things for elections, we've set it right outside the front door. I'm trying to visualize just the sidewalk and the tree and stop sign and everything. Do we want the sign at the corner? Or do we want it by the front door? I don't know. I think there's pluses and minuses of both. I don't necessarily have a strong preference. What does everybody else think? What do you think?
You know, my thought is if you got it on the corner and everybody's stopping there and turning the corner there, if they're watching the sign, they're probably not visually watching competitive traffic out there.
Okay, so
My thought is if
it's
you-
big enough, it's big enough that it makes a little bit of a hazard.
To me, it'd be more practical and more safe if it's towards the front door.
Probably.
In one of the parking spots or something, one of the parking slots maybe, right?
Well,
Is that how you?
we put it up in the grass.
Can you put it in the grass? I didn't know if they would run it or not.
We don't back over a sprinkler head.
I think putting it on the corner is gonna create a hazard that we don't need to get involved in.
I think so. I think so. So we'll position that at the front door and come up with the shortest, best message we can fit on there and set up characters and 3 lines on, hopefully not more than 2, definitely not more than 2 pages.
Open, call ahead.
Then we can post all phone numbers on the
Yeah.
board.
On the door, yeah.
You know, there's quite a few people wanting to know when we're really gonna open it up and open it up to what extent. But with a partial opening up and still having some closures, and shutting down 4 o'clock, we need to be as transparent as we possibly can to our citizens out there. And the best way we can do that is just, you know, have a good plan in place.
I think we're gonna have some offices, I'm telling you, the register deeds, is an example, where they have the abstract people who come in. Once they come in, that office can tell them, yes, you come in whenever you want, and they're not gonna have to call ahead every time. That would be between them and that department and them.
Right. Key takeaway is just call ahead.
Yep. Anything else you think of?
If you can come back to me, I need to ask Russell some stuff.
The lake real quick?
Yeah.
Let's get it done. All right, we've been operating under the restricted hours. It would be my recommendation that at least through the rest of this month, which we're close to the end of the month, is to stay with those hours and shoot for a June 1st decision as to, I think we need to make the decision now, what we're gonna do June 1st. Are we gonna stay with those restricted hours through at least the month of June? Are we gonna increase them, or are we just gonna go back?
What are the hours?
My recommendation is stay restricted for the month of June. I know the fishermen won't necessarily agree with that. And the reason I say that is if we're gonna go back to full-time hours, then we're gonna have to probably hire at least some seasonal temporary gate attendants to help the lake guys, because we lost one for health reasons. We were already thin, and I looked at the hours for timesheets, because they're classified as part-time personnel. They would end up with overtime, like 170 some hours in a pay. That's too many hours.
What are your hours right now?
Right now, we're 7 to 5. We start calling the boats off the water at 4 p.m. and then get them loaded up and out by 5.
Do you always get them out by 5?
Pretty much. I mean, the fishermen are pretty good. They know they don't want to abuse it. I mean, they're good about getting out of there. So.
Do you have a line at 7 to get in?
It depends on the day. If it's a weekend or a good day, there could be half a dozen boats at 7 a.m. If it's a weekend, yeah, they're raring to go.
I'm fine with sticking with it.
That's your recommendation.
We can always change it. I mean, I think for now, as long as we're consistent, fishermen will adjust and be thankful they really are for fishing. And I don't want to have to hire people if we don't have to, but if we need to, I guess.
We're looking till June 1st, right?
Yeah.
That's not that far away.
It's really not. Now, question, do you have a problem? I drew a motion up to authorize the lake director to advertise, to take applications to potentially hire up to 4 seasonal temporary lake attendants. Potential employment dates from June 1st to September 7th. What I'm wanting to do is just get some applications, at least have them. So if we decide to extend those hours back, out in June, then I'm not scrambling to try to get applications and stuff. So I think it's not bad to have those applications on file. I think there'll be some like teachers, that sort of thing that might be interested. that if need be, right now, it'd just be taking those applications and sorting them and compiling them. So if I come back next week and say, I really could use 2 people to help the lake guys, whatever, we're not scrambling.
Heaven forbid something happened, but having alternates out there in case someone wants to take vacation. Or
And that's the other
to
thing is,
help keep the overtime down.
we're gonna have to do something. I really believe we do gotta do something, and I think seasonal, because summer is our hardest time, we can get up to 17 hours a day. Because normal operations is sunrise to sunset. If you look at those hours, you know, in June especially, holy cow. And by the time you get there early and you leave late, you're working 17 hours. Those are too long a days, especially, I just think we're working on a better schedule, but I can only do it if I get some seasonal help.
If
So,
you advertise that as potential, at least they won't expect.
right.
You got a position to fill.
And I'll do a
So to
cover,
me, there's nothing wrong with proceeding to have that long procedure.
and I'll do a cover letter also that just says we're looking at potentially, we're just taking applications to put on file for potential and use the word potential. So, this is what I really,
His rate looked at you.
he did not yet. I just wrote it up as one. I think there's 2 of them there.
There's 2,
I think there's. This is what I wrote up, Wade, if you wanna, if you need to play with it. What it is on my full-time employees, on my permanent, part-time employees, I'm starting to get thin. And with these longer hours, we may, depending on what we do for our hours, looking forward, to just have some seasonal, we used to do that, just some seasonal temporary help through those summer months.
We didn't have for salaries.
So usually Labor Day,
We didn't have for salaries.
it would be whatever the bottom is.
Okay, we have temporary summer help. It doesn't have lay people under it, but they would go under 1133.
11:32 with the road and bridges.
Yeah, that's what I think.
They're not-
Sure they're not over here. What's there?
11:33 both days.
Lake control. So yeah, we could go over here to the labor.
Just temporary temporary summer help.
Yep, just the temporary summer help, it'd be 11.33 an hour, which is not bad for what they would be required to do. And it'd mainly be, you know, lake registrations, help the patrol operator, if we get to that point. So. Would the motion be okay, or what needs to be changed?
I'd add the wage,
Oh, the wage.
not to be paid for summer help rate.
M1.
Is that what it is? M1A, is that how that reads?
Just
M1.
M1,
Just M1.
M1.
with the wage of M1, just, what'd you say, what about 1133? And I could draw up that, we got a standard advertising deal that we can put in the newspaper, and we'll put it on our website.
Would that be to not exceed so many hours?
That's what I was gonna say, not exceed 560 like the county is.
Yeah, whatever that is that what it is?
That's where most of them are.
560 hours. Yeah, I've not done that since we switched this format, so I'll double check with Wayne also, just make sure I'm doing the summer thing right. I imagine he has a template too for the advertisement for summer help, so. Other than that, is with the adjusted registrations, the fishermen are happy and it seems to be going fine. Haven't got any complaints, so. Anybody has anything for me? Otherwise, I'm out. Okay. It's Monday. Long weekend.
Anything you wanted to amend on this motion? Take action on?
We just started M1 1133 and now 26560. About all you did.
I don't think we typically did that in the intent to advertise. Just trying to, I couldn't find one from Road and Bridge, we did that for summer help. Just trying to make it consistent.
Whatever.
Move to authorize the lake director to advertise for up to 4 seasonal temporary lake gate attendants. Potential employment dates from June 1st to September 7th. Pay classification of M1 not to exceed, hours worked not to exceed 560.
I'll move.
Second.
Bob has moved and Tom has second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, excuse me, opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
We'll get that done. Get back and just hold off until the first, we'll be making progress between now and then. I'll report back to the commission. Give you updates and let you know where we're at.
Appreciate it, Randy.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We'll just need these regular apps, yeah.
Roundtable.
One of the other things now that the courthouse is gonna open was when people would come into the courthouse, they would sign in. I had Russell check with Lindsay, that's not a recommendation at this point. So I think that would be the natural next question by potential department heads, whether that was to continue if people went to their departments. And now, if it happens, it needs to be on a voluntary basis, and that means some could sign and some couldn't. The intent and purpose of signing a list is for contact tracing later on down the road, but not everybody's gonna be signing something. There's really no point. So, I guess there's a point, but you only have a partial picture. So just want that to be said, because I think that would be one of the next questions that would occur maybe internally. No one needs to sign anything. I know there's the suit out of Lynn County that is pending where the local health officer there, I think my understanding is, issued an order requiring all businesses within Lynn County to take down people's contact information. That's where that suit originated. So, outside of that, at the conclusion of roundtable, I'm going to request a 15-minute executive session, but I figure we can do that at the end.
Angie, do you have anything for roundtable?
Well, I was just gonna mention that we've had a couple of our automatic faucets installed here, so it looks like we're getting things moving along there, so. One other thing I mentioned, I know we talked last week about the election coming up, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but in Lyon County, they're mailing out applications for advanced ballots. I'm not going to do that here. We put it in the paper. That if someone is interested in an application for an advanced ballot, they're welcome to get one, but I think it's important for our voters to go out and vote, and so our polls will be open, and I'll try to do the best I can to keep everybody safe, voters and my workers, so. And that's all I have today.
Brett? No. Tom?
I'm good, thanks.
Bob? Don?
I don't have anything really, Mr. Chairman, other than, I haven't talked to Darren East since a big project that started at the airport. And that's nearly a $4 million project. If, I wouldn't mind having Darren on the agenda here next week or two to give us an update for 5 minutes or whatever it would take. See how they're proceeding along and our timeframe that was, we're shooting for, because the airport is so important to this county, especially for agriculture. And I'd kind of like to know how they come along. I could call Darren to get it, but I'd like to have him.
I'll give them a call.
I don't have anything other than our continuation of our discussion last week. Handed around earlier. Thoughts, questions, research, suggestions?
I'm opposed to the combination coming up with 6.5. I actually had a little work. I didn't do a lot of it. I had a lot of help with doing it. And I kind of went through and checked all the potential step increases for next year, according to the way it would be now. And that comes to a total of $63,000, a little over $63,000 for just step increases next year. I would like to just throw my thoughts out a little bit. I think on when the department heads plan their budget, they know who's going to get step increases and who are not. Plan that, and I would like to see their salary employees, salary budget part of it pretty close. They know who's going to get longevity. I'd like to see that pretty close, basically within 1 or 2% of what it is. And then I think the other part of that is, instead of the cushion, I think I would like for the commission to set up their own little cushion fund. So if some emergency type thing comes up or something different, we have that. And then when we do the CPI, we can take it out of the cushion fund that we set up instead of having a department head budget for it. I want to put these budgets pretty close. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. How do you want to word that in the letter we're going to send out?
I agree with you 100%, Bob. I think we need to be fair, but we need to keep these things closer than what we have the last 2 or 3 years, or maybe even further back than that, because I don't know what it was 3 years past.
This has been procedure. This ended up being 6.5 has been procedure since I've been here. So.
That's what I understand. So I fully agree with where you're at. The projected step increases, I think, is very accurate, pretty projectable. The longevity pay is pretty projectable. That we need to stay pretty close to the vest, and yet have an account that we can pull into if we need to.
I think the account for us to set it, to pull into if we need to, is probably pretty important, especially at this stage of the game, because with the salary study, we may be looking at a whole new CP4, maybe totally changed. We may be increasing some salaries, so we will need something to take care of that. And also potentially, you know, longevity program may change to a different type of program. It may extend longer, may start sooner, we don't know. But I'm looking at there's going to be some changes. But as far as department heads themselves, taking what they know today, they know who's going to get step increases next year. But then it would be we still have our little fund where we can make all adjustments that would come from that. So yeah, I'm thinking there could be a lot of changes coming because of this study, but we can make where we can work with those.
Okay. So scratch item 4, modify item 3.
That would be my thinking.
Item 4 will set aside a budget for basically what comes with our salary study.
I would say, item 3 might be actual budget. I would say item 3 might be your actual budget. I mean, I realize they know this, I'm just talking in salaries. Now, I have no idea, and the department heads will have to figure out how much they usually spend on commodities and that type of stuff. But we're talking their salaries here.
Right.
So they pretty well should know actual what it is.
So calculate best estimate for 2021 salary budget, including all that we pay.
I realize there will be some departments that may have overtime and stuff, but we can make that work.
Well, that, I mean, that would be in your calculated best estimate.
Right. Usually it should be. Yeah.
Right, I'm just saying there's no sense in figuring it out for just adding 3% to it for.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Anything else?
That's just my opinion.
Everybody else have any thoughts?
I agree with that.
I think it's a good starting point to go.
I think that's good.
So,
It's pretty well what we talked about that just a little bit last week.
so in our correspondence from the KAC, I cannot remember the individual's position. But basically said, as of right now, they're calculating an 8.1% budget shortfall for the state. And that may get worse before things get better. I think it's something we all need to think hard about. Donna, do you have anything else for roundtable?
I sent out Randy wanted me to send out the Goldberg contract. And so I wanted you to get a chance to review that before. And I think Wade was gonna review that too.
That it?
A reminder that you won't have a meeting on Monday due to the Memorial Day holiday, which you'll meet on Tuesday.
And checks and vouchers Tuesday?
Yeah.
Executive session, Wade?
And I will likely be in Zoom court on Tuesday. Request recess into executive session for consultation with the county counselor to provide legal advice in reference to potential county litigation for matters being privileged under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-319 D2, and for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, yourself and the commission.
Correct.
Second.
He moved, I seconded.
Bob has moved, Tom has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We'll go in for 15 minutes, return here. We'll go in at 11:26.
We go to that same room.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But you don't have to worry about me talking.
I think we have, I think, because I'm in the hospital.
Well, she can say what she has to do.
Yeah, they're on board like 3 days off, 6, but even those 3 days are like 16, 17-hour days. I don't know about you, I can't work 16, 17-hour days. I don't know how someone do it in their 70s. And so, to me, we're looking at a schedule that would be basically 2 shifts a day, 8 hours each, 7 in the morning till, I think, or 6 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon, and 1 in the afternoon till 8 at night, or 9 at night type deal. That way, something like that, it'd be like 7.5-hour days. And you'd still, work like 2 or 3 days and then off 4 or 5, or 2 or 3 days off 4 or 5. And it should level, the hours should level out that way for everybody, and nobody gets wore out. And then come this fall, we can taper off and not need as many people, but we're so thin now, if anybody gets sick or takes vacation, Dawn has to cover it, and it's just too much. And I can't operate. It is good. Teachers, retired people, somebody that wants something to do for the summer, a couple days a week. It's a great opportunity. I mean, I've had several people ask me like, hey, when are you guys hiring out the lake? I said, well, permanently, not right now, just because I don't know long-term for the rest of the year because of the COVID thing. Temporary, possibly soon, because it's like we're just getting so thin out there, and then one of our guys, for health reasons, quit. And then it's left me, but I don't have a whole lot of wiggle room anymore. So, but we're gonna look and see what we do. I've got a couple weeks, that's the main thing, is what is it, 10 days or whatever, to June 1st, something like that. So, I've got at least 10 days to, figure it out and see what we're gonna do and come back with my recommendations. So, anyway, I guess I'm gonna go be busy. I'm gonna go do it. I got Paul Wayne, Blackburn.
Baker's playing with his puppies. Oh, I got the signs up on the door for closing.
Okay.
On Monday. It's funny, I didn't figure who you are.
Yeah. Says a graduation can't be done inside the gym or outside on the football field. Perhaps the grads can walk through Walmart, Lowe's, or anything they want to witness.
What about it? Everything like Lowe's and Walmart, you better get everything are packed full, but I can't go to the campground. I went for the first time this weekend, and it's over here, so. You need to take it from food.
No, you shut up.
Take it off police station.
But we didn't know they had been closed. We didn't know how many people might be there, so we drove over. There's only about 10 spots now. They used to have 7. 10 they had, 10 good people there. So we went back, just got people ready to go. I thought it was nice.
We went to the radio apartments at that and changed the from each time.
Oh, okay.
So that return statements tomorrow.
Well, still need to get to Nashville. Thank you. That's a great time for the chance to get home.
No. Have you seen the pictures of Houston, Pennsylvania?
She's. Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw her.
All that hair. It's talking.
Imagine sometime. You get a spot.
That's what everyone. He didn't know what water meant.
Well, the second time, one of the things that was most
we just got it in, so it's been on the and you're out in it. So very little one, a little coach means for 1%. You traded in on 38, but we got at 20, I think it's 26. So it's in the middle. Yeah, they had 17. That's not so. One typically happens like we can pretty well can be somewhere. We get it in some, it's not like that. There's two places here. We have any different ones. Did you see the primitive area that I had some? And he said, I think we need those are very keen. They're kind of ragged. I thought of that. But she goes, yeah, one time when it came into me, they did that on the street.
Really, that's how it happened.
Yes. Absolutely.
We're actually looking at it, like, you know, over here, Kindle, you just get it.
And she said you can even in the gym and do it as long as you can have the 10 pound. So. Yeah, without, yeah. I like the area where they have the yurts and the cabins. But that one they did that
Back in session. Wade, did you have anything else?
Nope, that's all I have for today.
Okay. That's all we have. We'll adjourn at 11:40.
So. So we're gonna, am I leaving my people there today then? I finish the day out or full on it?
I would leave him there at least till Russell gets the sign on, which he may get signed.
Yeah. But also to buy some time and help keep things maybe organized and